This is the outbound hamster wheel.
You wake up at 6 a.m., you make 50 cold calls before lunch, you get hung up 47 times. Then next thing you know, you're attending 3 networking events begging for referrals, but you still can't seem to hit your revenue goals at the end of the month. Does this sound familiar? Because if it does, you're not alone, and many other advisors and planners and insurance agents are facing the same thing. Here's the brutal truth that most people in the financial services industry don't want to admit. You're not running a business, you're running a full-time job where you're both the employee and the boss. And the worst part is, the harder you work, the more involved you become. And I was once in the exact same position you are right now. It's something that I like to call the outbound hamster wheel. We all know that cycle. You spend the morning cold calling all the leads, and you spend the afternoon on appointments with them. And that's not all. You still have to service your clients, do administration, and get up early in the morning ready for the market to open so you can actually do the service that they hired you for. I was in the exact same situation with my marketing agency. I was stuck doing 50 to 100 cold calls a day, attending meetings in the afternoon, and then I would still have to fulfill my clients after. I would spend hours getting the phone slammed down on me and prospects ghosting me after I had booked them into an appointment. And even if I did manage to get them into an appointment, they would tell me to send a proposal and then they'd ghost me after. But bit by bit, I started to get better and I started to realize, how do I get people to show up to calls? How do I get people to commit on the call? How do I get people to become long-term clients that I can build a valuable relationship with? Because when you're at this stage in your journey, you have 0 systems, you have 0 leverage, and you have 0 automation. According to industry data, 80% of financial advisors never break 100K in annual revenue. The average advisor makes 100 cold calls to book 1 appointment.
Of those appointments, only 10 to 15% close. And even when they do close, the advisor is burnt out, so they barely have any energy to actually service the client. So let me ask you something. How many cold calls did you make this week? How many networking events did you drag yourself to? How many times did you hear no before they said yes? And here's the question that keeps you up at night. What happens if you stop? If you take a vacation, your income stops. If you get sick, your pipeline completely dries up. If you want to scale, you physically can't because there's only one of you. This is the outbound hamster wheel. And the financial services industry has convinced you that this is how it's done. Cold calling builds character. Networking is how you grow. Referrals are the best marketing. They're not wrong, but they're not telling you the full story. Because while you're grinding out cold calls, the top 5% of financial advisors are sitting from their offices taking warm inbound calls who are asking to work with them. They're not chasing, they're not begging. They have prospects coming to them. And I'm going to show you exactly how they're doing it. Here's how everything changed for me and how you can change it for you as well. I stopped chasing cold leads and I started attracting warmer ones. Now I know what you're thinking. I've tried social media, I've posted on LinkedIn, I've run a few Facebook ads. It doesn't work. And you're right, it doesn't work. The way that you've been doing it doesn't work. Let me explain what most financial advisors completely miss. Marketing isn't about you, it's about them. Every failed ad campaign, ignored LinkedIn post, every networking event that went nowhere, it failed for the same reason. We talked about what you do instead of what they need. Let me show you what an example of bad ad copy looks like. Let's say that I'm you. XYZ financial planning, 20 years of experience, comprehensive wealth management, book a free consultation. You see how you're just talking about yourself and you just sound like everybody else does. Now let's change this up a little bit. Look at this example. Are you a business owner who's worried that their retirement plan isn't enough to actually maintain your lifestyle? Most business owners don't realize that they're leaving 200K plus on the table by not optimizing their succession plan. We've helped 47 business owners in Vancouver at an average of $340,000 to their retirement through strategies their current advisor would never tell them about. Want to see if you qualify? Click the link below and fill in a short form, and we'll send over our financial clarity checklist, which is going to uncover if you are truly missing out on over $200,000 in savings in your retirement. You see the difference? The first ad is all about you. The second ad is all about them. Their pain, their fear, their goals, and their desires. This is where the 5-step client acquisition system comes in. Step 1 is deep market research. You need to know your prospects better than they know themselves. What keeps them up at night? What are they afraid of? What do they really want? So what we'll do is we'll scrape Reddit, AngelList, LinkedIn, and other platforms to find out exactly what makes a business owner or someone who's about to retire or whoever your avatar is choose a financial advisor, what their actual pain points are, what their goals are, how we can position ourselves as the most trusted and experienced professional in the market. Now what we're going to do is we're going to upload all this information after we scrape all these threads, and we're going to upload it to an AI called Willem, which allows you to store up to 100 different sources. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create a psychographic profile of your avatar.
They don't like to see high fee advisors, sales first culture, and vague buzzword filled advice. There's a lack of access for average earners. Here's what they're looking for. Looking for fee only, fiduciary, conflict free advice, simple, clear strategies to help create a plan and not selling products, someone to guide, not just transact.
We're going to use that psychographic profile to make advertisement scripts. So what we'll do is we'll take our psychographic profile, which will tell you everything you need to know about your customer, and we'll start to make scripts in this 3-step framework. Hook, story, offer.
Your hook is the first 3 seconds of your video. Its job is to catch the viewer's attention and stop the scroll. Let's say you're selling solar. This would be an example of a hook that you could use for your content. It goes something like this. I couldn't pay my light bill until I did this one thing. Or I used to think energy was expensive until I realized this one solution would cut my bill in half. Now what's the next part of your script? It's the body. So what do we want to do in our body of our content? We want to make sure that we differentiate ourselves from every single other company on our industry. People in their mind, they have a pattern that they see when it comes to every single industry. So what you want to do is you want to initiate a pattern interrupt. Our marketing research for cleaning companies, we found out people relate cleaning companies to not doing a good enough job and not accepting refunds. What did we do in our script? In our body, we told customers that if we didn't do a good enough job the first time, we would come back a second time to do it all over again until it was clean. We back it up. We back it up with customer reviews and testimonials. Quick notes for the body: differentiate yourself and back it up by providing reviews of real customers. Your call to action. This is where you instruct people to opt in. This is where you instruct people to leave a comment with a certain keyword, and then you'll DM them a link to where they can give their information. If you're on TikTok, you can even do lead forms on the content itself now. What else should you include in your call to action? If you're advertising, you can include promotions and deals that are only available on that day or week to create urgency. For example, claim 30% off if you sign up today.
So hook is the first 3 seconds of your ad, whether it's a static or a video. It's what catches the avatar's attention. After that, we're going to go into our story. Our story could be a client testimonial, a client result, or what makes you stand out as an advisor. For example, you could uncover a secret in the industry that many clients don't know, such as if you're a commission-based advisor that only sells products and you're actually selling your clients into those products instead of actually doing what's best for them. That's what a lot of people complain about. Or if you provide siloed advice because you're at a bank branch and you can't actually provide advice that's best for them, but only what your bank provides, that's another pain point. These are things that you could say in the middle of your ad to attract your avatar because they've probably experienced this pain point in the past. And from there, what we're going to do is we're going to provide our call to action, which is click below and fill in the form or book a call or whatever it is. Step 3, we need to film content that gets our prospects to click. So we don't want to film ads to make them look like ads. We want to film ads that blend in with the feed. Because as soon as people see ads, they're going to scroll away. You want to put something out there that is genuine and that isn't too fancy, but actually blends in with the rest of the content. If these ads look too professional, too corporate, too polished, people will scroll through. You should be like a regular person telling a story. That's what stops the scroll.
So you've done your marketing research, you've scripted your content, and finally, you're ready to shoot. So tell me, how do you shoot content? I like to schedule my cuts 3 seconds per clip. So we're assuming that we're on meta platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. Somebody holding the camera for you, make sure they slowly zoom in as they're filming. And also zoom out very slowly as they're filming. Having a steady camera is important. Make sure that the camera is being held still, or just buy a camera like mine, DJI Osmo 3, which has a gimbal to make sure that the camera is steady at all times. As you can see, I can use my phone to record, so I don't actually have to press the button on my camera. I can also do a couple other cool things like move the camera around. I can zoom in and do a lot more cool stuff. So yeah, this camera is like $1,000. You can buy it online. It's called DJI Osmo 3. Other thing I want to shine some light on is that you need to use a good editing software. So I like to use CapCut Pro because I've been using it since the beginning. It works properly. Everything you need is there. It's only 13 bucks a month. I recommend it. It's definitely worth the price. One other important note to mention is drinking 12 of these simultaneously in a row will also help you with your work. What also works is just doing random stuff like holding things in your hands, moving things around. So here's actually how we're gonna edit our videos inside of CapCut. 3 seconds per clip on average. You're gonna need to implement a transition sequence and a sound within that transition. So for example, it could be a camera flash with the camera sound, or it can be the swipe with the swipe sound. I want you guys to implement pictures within your editing. Have a picture come in and then slide out with sound effects on both the in and out part of the transition. Sound effects, transitions, and visuals really make it more engaging.
Step 4, setting up and managing ad campaigns. This is where most doing-it-yourself attempts fall apart. The ad manager setup, the targeting, the pixel implementation, the data tracking, the budget allocation. It's technical, and if you mess it up, you're burning money. But when it's done right, you're paying $30 to $80 per qualified lead who's actually asking to speak to you.
Hey guys, this is how to set up a profitable ad campaign as of September 15th, 2025. Now, as early as the beginning of the year, what people were doing, what I was doing as well, was what you would do is you would go into Ads Manager, you would set up a campaign, and you would put one ad per ad set, and you would test every ad individually to see what got the best result. But that's not the case anymore, so I'm going to show you guys how to do it now. So first of all, we're going to create a new campaign, whatever your goal is. Usually the goal of most companies is either leads or sales, right? So let's say you're a service-based business, you're looking for leads, you're looking for new jobs. If you're an e-com brand or you're selling products, it's usually sales. So let's assume for this video, that's what we're doing. So I work mostly with service-based businesses, so I go for the leads campaign objective, and we're going to choose auction here, which means that we can put our money on the table and say, listen, I'm going to get the attention here because we're spending more than you. There's other ways you can do this. You can use reservation, but auction has always worked for me. So we're going to go and choose the auction objective. And over here, usually we always want to have manual setup, but it's getting harder and harder to keep everything manual. You've got Advantage Plus here, and what is Advantage Plus? Advantage Plus is where Meta decides what the best place to put the spend is, according to them. What's going to get you the most bang for your buck, according to Meta. And historically, this is not the best way to go about things because Meta doesn't actually care about your results. They care about how much money you can give them. So when Meta distributes your money, it's usually going to put more money into their bank rather than yours. And the ways we've always avoided this is you turn off all the Advantage Plus and you do everything manually. Then once you start to see profitable ads, you reiterate, you do the same thing that was working before into a new campaign, and then you put Advantage Plus, right? So here's what it says. You're starting with that Advantage Plus, manual options still available. So what we're going to do is, as you see here, Advantage Plus is on, but we want to avoid that. We're going to put the ad set budget instead of the Advantage Plus budget. Then it's very hard to change these days, but we're in the ad set budget, so that's better than having an Advantage Plus budget. Everything is good here, no special categories. Now we're going to move on to our ad set here. So let's say we're a local landscaping business. We're going to use instant forms because you don't need a landing page for that type of work. It's best if you just have leads coming in, then you have notifications set up that when a lead comes in, it's on your phone, you can call them right away. That's for CRM integration, which will be a different type of video. Let's say you're a financial advisor or somebody in financial services. You're probably going to have a landing page and it won't be instant forms. It will be website forms, right? In B2B, it's better to have a landing page. In B2C, I think going with the instant forms is quite good. When you have the instant forms, you're going to have more leads, but they're going to be less high quality. When you've got the landing page form, it's going to be less leads, but higher quality. And it also depends on how many questions you ask in your form. So if you do use instant forms, try and use a bit more questions to qualify your prospects. So let's say we are going with instant forms here, and we want to maximize our number of leads, and we want to scroll down. We want to show more options. Standard delivery. Let's say budget of $25 a day. I would say this is minimum. Usually people go for at least $40 a day per ad set, right? Budget scheduling, we don't need that. We run ads all the time because the AI is going to figure out for us what works best. In terms of audiences, you can put a few different demographics and interests.
I would say you can even go completely broad these days because the AI, it's so good, you can have your creative do the targeting. So for example, if you have a video ad, you want to call out a certain audience, you just say it in the ad. You say, hey, West Vancouver homeowners, or hey, Montreal homeowners, or hey, Toronto homeowners. Or if you're in a different niche, they'll say, hey, business owners, right? You can call it out in your ad. But some businesses, they do really only target a specific person. So then it's no problem just to target that person. So we can put our inclusions here. Let's say we're in Toronto, Canada. The closest you can go is 10 miles in radius. And some people have a problem with this because they don't want to serve within 10 miles because that's quite a wide radius. Okay, so let's say we don't want to target this area here. Let's say we just want to take this little spot of Toronto here. We could drop some circles here and exclude there. Let's add another location. Let's drop another pin. We can drop a pin here. Boom. And now you see we are going for this little area here. Now, does this make sense in this current scenario? No, because we're in the water. But let's say we're not in the water. It makes sense. You know what I'm trying to say. We're excluding these areas and we're targeting this area here. So moving on. Some businesses, they really don't target some demographics. So let's say you only work with people that are going into retirement. You can target age, so you can go, let's say, 60 or 55 to 65 plus. And you only target people that are business owners, for example. You can add some interest there. Even though it's not really necessary anymore. You can do the targeting in your creative, right? This is going to give you some basic estimates of what's going to happen, but you can just ignore that. So now what you're going to do is you're going to create ads. So next, we're going to go here and create some ads. And just like I've shown you earlier in the blueprint, which is coming out soon. So if you're seeing this, you're probably reading the blueprint. Hopefully you like it so far. We're going to add most likely 3 different reels and 2 different static images, right? Multi-advertiser ads, I don't like those because what it actually does is you appear alongside other ads. Like when you swipe on a story, you appear alongside other ads. So I don't really like that. So I usually turn those off. Carousel, it's unique. I like that. It's like when you can scroll over a picture. You know, on Instagram, when there's multiple pictures, you swipe. That's what a carousel ad is. I do like to use those sometimes. In terms of location, in this case, it would be the form, and you would create a form to your liking. So, for example, it might be your name, your email, your phone number, and specific questions about the type of service you need. And then you're going to upload your creative here, an image or a video. Your CRM, which we'll talk about later in the blueprint, should be on the back end, and you can connect to Facebook ads from your CRM, or you can do it right here. So once you add your creative, so let's just add something random. You can put your primary text, headline, description here and choose a different word. And there are specific enhancements that they can give you. I like to turn most of them off, except music. I like to have music. What I don't like to have is all those weird enhancements and text improvements because I've got my own text. I don't need other text, right? Music will be added if there isn't music already. So if it's like a static ad or something like that. Enhanced CTA is another one that I do like. It will change the wording you see here of your call to action based on what they think will work. I think it's creative. I think it could work, right? But most of them aren't great. So I like to turn most of them off. So now we've got all that there. We can put our primary headline and description text and select our call to action here. You can actually add many different variations of text. The creative is what matters. The psychology behind that is what matters, right? Let's say you have 5 different ones. Okay, so let's quick duplicate like 5 of them here. These ads are going to act like a mini funnel. If you talk to any expert these days, what they're saying is that instead of splitting it into different ad sets, which is what they used to do, they used to duplicate ad sets like this, and they would put 1 ad per ad set. So let's ignore that there are 5 here. They would put 1 ad per ad set and test them against each other because each ad set has its own spend attributed to it. But that doesn't work anymore. What they're saying now is just use 1 ad set and put all the ads in 1 ad set and let them act as like a mini funnel where like people will hop from one ad to the other and just kind of go like a funnel until they take action.
So that's the way we're going to set up our ads in 2025. Use a budget of at least $25 or even $40 per ad set. Don't go making more than one ad set if you don't have at least like $40 per ad set. So if you want to add another ad set with some different targeting, go ahead, but add all the ads in, put the budget there, and maybe change one or two things and let it roll there. So that's the way I'm running ads. From anybody that I know, they're doing the same thing, and this is working. And I know it is because with one of my clients, I was using the old method. It didn't go so well. Then I switched over to this new method, and it started working super well. So
Step 5, CRM implementation and follow-up. This is the most important step that everybody ignores. You can have the perfect ad, but if you don't follow up within 5 minutes, your conversion rate drops by 100x. You need automated SMS sequences, email nurture campaigns, booking systems, and internal notifications the second that a lead comes in. And now you might be wondering, but how do you actually qualify this lead so they're not junk leads? Well, if you sell to business owners, we'll set up a landing page that qualifies the leads for you by having a headline that disqualifies anybody that is not your target avatar, such as saying, attention, incorporated business owners with over $200,000 in retained earnings. By putting this at the top of your page, you're now disqualifying that person from opting in. You can do the same in your messaging, in your ad itself, by calling them out at the start, saying, hey, incorporated business owners, this is a problem that I just uncovered, and you might be losing out on this policy, which could actually have you extract tax efficiently instead of paying it to the CRA. And finally, the third qualification step would be in your form. By including relevant questions in your form that disqualify and qualify leads, you can automatically filter out the leads that don't qualify. So you can avoid tire kickers and ultimately get more qualified leads. And from there, you might be asking, how can we actually ensure that people show up to the call? Because my show rate from cold calls was very low. Well, we do this by providing sales assets. So this could be anything valuable such as YouTube videos, PDFs, checklists, quizzes, and guides. And just the content in the email itself has to be valuable. And we're going to automate this by using sequences inside the CRM go ahead level to send 7-day sequences after the lead opts in, book a call sequences once they book a call, follow-up call sequences after they book a follow-up call. And throughout the process, we want to make sure that we're providing value all the way up to the call and reminding those prospects about the set date of the call at the same time. So when all 5 steps of this system come together, you're going to get a result like my client Henry has. So Henry has booked 54 qualified appointments in the past 2 months, and he's closed several over $100,000 premium deals since. And I'm not going to go into the details of his campaign, but if you'd like me to show you how this works, you can just book a call below and I'll show you how his entire campaign and ads and funnels were set up. Let's just say that his investment with ads, his ad spend plus his investment in me with my fee is 1/10 of what he's gotten back. And I haven't just worked with financial advisors. I've worked with gym owners, real estate firms, politicians, wellness centers, restaurants, you name it. I've worked with every single type of business, but the reason I'm working with financial advisors is because it's way more worth it for me to work with you, because when you close a client, it's worth a lot more to you than a restaurant lead is to them. A restaurant lead is maybe $120 in LTV, lifetime value. So how much profit they're making per customer over the lifetime of that customer interacting with the restaurant versus you guys. If you close a book of business that is $500,000 or more, now you're getting paid $5,000 a year. Let's say they stay for 3 years, that's $15,000 and your margins are super high. So it's a lot more worth it for me to work with you because the deals you close are simply bigger. If I bring you more qualified leads, I also get paid more. But here's where it really gets interesting, because once you have the system in place, you unlock something called the leverage ladder. Let me show you how this works. You've got your first rung, which is profitable ad spend. You start running some Facebook ads. You're spending $50 a day, getting 1 to 2 leads per day at $30 to $40 per lead. You close 1 out of every 3 leads. Each client is worth $5,000. It could be AUM fees, commissions, planning fees, whatever your model is. So you spend $90 to acquire that lead. You close them, you make $5,000. That's a 55 to 1 return. Even if you're conservative and you factor in lifetime value at just 3 years, you're at a 3 to 1 LTV to CAC ratio. Now that's profitable and that's scalable. So from here, you can scale ad spend. Now you know that your ads are profitable and you could scale. You go from $50 a day to $100 a day, then $200 a day. Suddenly you're getting 6 to 8 qualified leads per day. You're closing 2 to 3 clients per day. Your revenue jumps from $15K a month to $45K a month. But here's the problem. You can't handle all these leads yourself. You're drowning. Which brings us up to rung 3, hire an appointment setter. You hire someone from $2,000 to $4,000 a month to handle the initial calls, qualify leads, and book them into your calendar. This person costs you $4K a month, but they book 40 appointments each month. You see how this leverage works? Now we're at rung 4, hiring a virtual assistant. Now you're closing 20 deals a month, but you're buried in admin work, onboarding paperwork, scheduling, CRM management, follow-ups. So you hire a VA for $2,000 a month to handle all the operational tasks. Now you only do two things. You close deals and you service clients. Everything else is handled. You're now working 30 hours a week instead of 60, making $400K a year instead of $87K a year, and you're not burnt out anymore. This is what leverage looks like. This is what it means to work on your business instead of inside it. And it all starts with that first round, getting warm inbound leads through paid advertising and sales funnels. But here's what I need you to understand. This doesn't happen by accident. You can't just try some Facebook ads and hope it works. You need a system. You need the right research, the right messaging, the right follow-up, the right optimization. That's why I built the 5-step client acquisition system specifically for financial advisors, planners, and insurance agents. Because I was tired of seeing not just myself, but financial professionals trapped in the outbound hamster wheel, working 60-hour weeks, making 80 grand a year, and wondering why they couldn't break through. Now I know what you're thinking, and let me address some of the common objections. Objection number one, Facebook ads are too expensive. But compared to what? If you're making 50 cold calls per day to book one appointment, and that takes you 4 hours, and you're worth $100 an hour, you just spent $400 to book one appointment. I could get you a qualified lead for $40. And you also might be thinking, I get great referrals. Why do I need this? And I understand referrals are the best form of marketing there is out there. But ask yourself, can you control when referrals come in? Can you scale referrals? Can you turn referrals on when you need more revenue? No, you can't. Referrals are amazing, but they're not a system, they're a bonus. Paid ads are a system that you can control. And here's the magic. You don't have to replace yourself. You don't have to replace referrals with ads. You stack them. Cold outreach plus referrals plus paid ads. This is unstoppable growth. Now let's say you tried Facebook ads before, but they didn't work. I believe you. And the truth is, everybody loses money on ads before they make any money, right? You have to spend money to get leads, to then close the leads. And most people, they give up way too early. But let me ask you, did you do deep market research first? Did you script your ads based on the pain points, desires, and goals of your avatar? Did you set up a proper follow-up sequence with a CRM, business SMS, phone numbers set up, email sequences and drip campaigns, and integrated calendars all in one place? Or did you just boost a post and hope for the best? There's a difference between trying Facebook ads and running a systematic client acquisition campaign. Now, I know that you probably don't have time to learn all of this yourself, and you're right, you probably don't. That's why you either use the guide I've linked below and do it yourself over the next 3 months. It's just $27. It has everything inside that you need to know, plus video tutorials. Or you hire somebody who's already done this themselves to set it up for you in 30 days. Time is your most valuable asset, so stop trading it for cold calls. So if you've gotten this far throughout the video, let me guess at where you're currently at. Right now, you're stuck in the outbound hamster wheel. You're trading time for money. You're working 60-hour weeks. You're chasing cold leads that don't care about you. And you're wondering if there's a better way. There is a better way. And I just showed you exactly what it looks like. Now you have 3 options. Option 1 is you do nothing. You keep doing what you're doing. You keep cold calling. You keep networking. You keep grinding. Maybe you'll hit 100K this year. Maybe you won't. But I can guarantee one thing. You'll still be exhausted. Option 2, you do it yourself. I've linked my complete 5-step client acquisition system in the description below. It's free. You can download it, study it, and implement it yourself. It's going to take you 3 to 6 months of trial and error. But if you're committed, you can make it work. Option 3, you let me help you. Look, I've spent the last 6 months building out this system specifically for financial advisors. I know the industry. I know the compliance issues. I know what works and what doesn't. I've currently got on 8 different financial service providers, and they're getting leads every single day. And right now, I've got a free, no obligation consultation, which you can book on the calendar link down below. And we'll have a chat about your business, what your current situation is, and if we could even help you out. I'll show you what the system looks like in person, live, in the video call, and you'll be able to visually see if this could work for you. Here's what else happens on the call. We'll look at your current client acquisition process. We'll identify where you're losing money and time. We'll map out a custom plan for you and how you can implement this system. And if it makes sense for both of us, we'll talk about how I can help you set all of this up. No pressure, no hard sell, just 2 business owners having a conversation. So I've linked that booking calendar down below. Here's what I do know about you. You didn't get into financial services to make cold calls all day. You got into it because you love helping people secure their future. You love the moment when you realize that a client can retire comfortably. You love solving complex financial puzzles. But you can't do any of that if you're spending 80% of the time cold calling. So let me handle the marketing so you can get back to doing what you're best at. Click the link below, book a call. Let's get you off the hamster wheel. I'll see you on the other side.